just want to ask you, with these new COVID protocols the NFL's putting into place effective Saturday. I know there have been protocols all along here, but how difficult has that made it to build chemistry, camaraderie, and has it kind of taken away some of the fun of the game? Because I know building relationships inside the locker room is always a fun thing.
Yeah, when you put it like that, it's a little difficult, a little challenging, especially getting that hands-on teaching in person too. That takes a factor too. But we got to do what we got to do to make this thing work. So we're willing to do it, and the whole league should be ready to do it, and we're ready for it. And we already been in intensive protocol for last week, so if that's what it takes to keep the season going, then that's what we're gonna do. You see, I got my mask on right now. I ain't trying to get fined, so.
Thanks.
Kristen and Dave Zangaro.
Hey, Miles. Kind of a two-part question. First, just want to know how you felt physically coming out of that Giants game. Kind of getting that workload back on you, and then second, it feels like there are going to be some more offensive line pieces that are going to come back this week for you guys. So how can that help you continue to move forward in the second half of the season, having those veteran guys along the line?
Yeah, I feel good coming out of the game with my first game back. And we got some guys coming back. We got Isaac possibly coming back this week, and that's going to be a major plus. It's basically like getting the band back together. All they're missing is Big B Books, but they have really good chemistry with each other, and everything should be working smoothly. Even though the guys that's been filling in those spots has been doing a hell of a job. Stout's been doing a good job coaching them up and getting the job done week in, week out. So. But having those guys back, especially a guy like Isaac, is going to be a big plus for us.
Dave and then Martin.
Hey, Miles, every time we ask you about your workload, you always say, whatever the coaches want, which is totally understandable. But as a player, when you think you can make a difference, does it ever get frustrating when you're not used as much as some other running backs around the league?
Nah, honestly, no, not at all. Y'all not gonna get me. I'm sorry, but I'm a team player, man. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. When my number's called, I'm gonna do what I do, and when it's not, I'm gonna do whatever I can to help whoever else's number is called, whether it's blocking, being a lead blocker or doing whatever. So I'm not ever questioning my workload or anything. I trust the coaches, and the coaches trust me. So and that's all it is.
Martin and then Daniel.
Hey, Miles, I wanted to ask you about. I was wondering if you ever kind of like pay attention to the other running backs that you guys are facing. Like this week, obviously with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Just to see what they're doing, like things that maybe you can incorporate into your game and stuff. Do you look at that at all?
Yeah, always. That's all about being competitive. Obviously Browns got two really good running backs. We got Nick Chubb, big fan of both of them. I respect both of their games. Watch a lot of their film. Still learning. I'm still a young guy. I'm still learning, so I'm always watching other running backs' film and stuff. But a lot of respect from me towards those guys. They were balling all year, and I can't wait to chop it up with them after the game.
What do you see in their games, like
Just
particularly?
they're real consistent, and they run the ball a lot. And with those two guys, 1-2 in each defenses, I don't think a defense can really handle that the way they run and the two type of backs they are. So I like them both.
Daniel and then Damo.
Hey, Miles, after the game on Sunday, you took responsibility for those two drop passes you had. Carson had another one that went right at your feet. This season, you guys were really good last year in the passing game together. This season, it seems like it hasn't quite been there. What's it been like working through that and, trying to get on the same page as Carson where, those things kind of work this year?
Yeah, it's been a little bit of a struggle, but we still continue to come here and work. We still get extra work between special team periods and defensive periods. We're on the other fields doing routes and stuff. It's not just me, it's Boston too, and Corey. Just still getting extra work and still catching jugs before and after practice and stuff like that. Just still working at it. Just trying to get it right.
Damo and then Rube.
Yeah, Miles, pretty much the similar question to what Daniel just asked you. people tend to think of timing as between a quarterback with his wide receivers, but it's an issue with running backs as well too. I mean, it's something that needs to come with time. Is that still a work in progress with you and Carson this season?
Yeah, like I said, we're still we still, no matter if it's good or bad, we're still working on the other fields between periods and stuff. And it's not just the running backs, it's the receivers too. He's over there with the receivers and tight ends. Anytime we get some free extra time, we're over there catching and getting the timing right with him. So.
See two more hands raised, so we'll go Ruben and Jeff.
Hey, Miles, you've said consistently since you got here that you don't worry about your carries. You just want to do the most with whatever you get. You've been really consistent in that. Where does that come from? So many running backs, I want the rock, I want 25 carries, give me the ball. How did you develop that kind of unselfish mentality?
Well, if you guys can believe it or not, high school, I was in a two-back system. Me and a fellow friend that I went to high school with, very talented running back. I was in a two-back system, and basically Penn State, got humbled a little bit. I didn't play for 2 years, and even when I was playing, we had running backs rotating, But and then last year it was me and Jordan Howard, and then it ended up being me and Boston. So I'm pretty used to sharing the ball. I'm all about winning. That's all I really care about. So if two running backs are balling instead of one, or the running game's not going well and the passing game's going well, then I'm not going to be over there tripping, saying I still need to rock some way. If we're winning, I don't care. So that's just how I am.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Miles, we don't get to talk to Jalen Hurts. They don't provide him on these Zoom calls. So I'm just wondering, when you're out there with him, does he get the same checks that Carson does pre-snap? Based on a look of a defense to maybe move you or change the direction of a run play?
Repeat that. You talking about Jalen?
Yeah, Jalen Hurts. Yep.
You saying what? Does he what?
Does he get the same ability to check, change the direction of a run or check out of something that Carson would?
Yeah, all the quarterbacks get taught the same thing. They're all allowed to check plays and whatever plays that we have checked too. Yes, they're allowed to do the same thing, same freedom as Carson.
A number of the guys have already talked about this week about Cleveland's running game and the kind of pressure it can put on everybody. What's it going to be like for the back end of the defense, especially trying to defend their play action game and the discipline that's going to be required for the safeties and the corners?
Yeah, when you talk about a team who runs the ball, like Cleveland does, and then like you just said, the play action part about it, I think the biggest thing with that is, for one, trusting the guy next to you, if it is run, that he's going to be in the right spot so you can be able to read your keys so you can play run. Then outside of that, having great eyes when the play action does come to where your eyes aren't in the backfield and you're so worried about the run, that you don't see your guy releasing for a pass or whatever it may be.
Les and then Kristen.
Hey, Jalen. You've had another positive test on the team that's been announced, and the league announced yesterday that everybody's going into the intensive protocol starting Saturday anyway. Mm-hmm. Is this suddenly becoming a bigger issue for you guys than it was earlier, given what's going on across the country? It looked like for part of the season things were going pretty smoothly, but is this something that's sort of intruded into the process pretty solidly now?
Yeah, I wouldn't think so. As far as this organization, training staff, the doctors, they did a great job, and we were in protocol the first time. You know what I mean? Make sure that everybody felt safe. I know I felt safe as far as wearing masks. Even having the Oakley shields on our face masks at practice. The virtual meetings. Everything was really smooth. And then you talk about now, is this getting in the way? You've been doing this for a long time. Around this time, before COVID was here, teams were, you had guys getting sick. You know what I'm saying? It's just that time of year. You know what I'm saying? Now it's just COVID is going into play. And I mean, honestly, you know, I think the league is, you know, taking that extra step, knowing that, you know, guys are going to get sick on teams. You know, that's just what it has been for years. And, you know, just trying to protect us a little more, just go ahead and put us in a protocol instead of waiting for, you know, the bad stuff to happen.
Thank you.
Kristen and then Dave.
Hey, Jalen. So Les just kind of mentioned it as well, but what are some of the biggest adjustments you guys feel like you have to make to stay on the same page as you'll enter the intensive COVID protocols after this week and what you just went through last week as well?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is it's kind of helpful that we were in the intensive protocol before, because now we know what to look for and you know how meetings will be ran, you know how practice will be ran, walkthroughs and different things like that. So I think as far as I don't think it's going to be really any difficulty as far as staying on the same page. Just having to lock in on those virtual meetings, you know, getting in a quiet space and listening to what the coaches are and how they're coaching.
Dave and then Mike.
Hey, Jalen. The Browns have 3 tight ends that they kind of rotate in and out. How do they use them? I mean, are they used in very different ways or kind of similar ways?
Yeah, man. They use those guys, you know, kind of are similar. You know, each tight end, you know, does have something a little different. But for sure, you know, they're physical in the run game as far as blocking, and then also in the pass game, you know, he's throwing it to either one of them, you know, all 3 of them. It's not like it's one certain guy where we're like, hey, we got to key in on this guy. He's the one who's, you know, going to catch the ball on 3rd down. This guy is the guy who's going to, you know, run block. So I think as far as how they use those guys, they use them pretty good.
Mike and then Aditi.
Hey, Jalen, you obviously made 2 huge decisions this offseason, re-signing with the Eagles and then also moving to safety. When you look back at that decision, how has this all kind of played out for you midway through this season?
Yeah, I think it's going well. I think it's going really well at that. I'm playing good football. You know, the coaches, you know, they're grading me out every week, you know, saying I'm grading very good. You know, that's all I can ask for. And getting put in positions, you know, to make plays and help this defense and his team, you know, win football games.
Didi and then Zach.
Jalen, when you are studying Baker on tape, Baker Mayfield, he seems to be holding on to the ball for quite some time. I think he might be one of the actually taking the longest time in the league, one of the longest guys. Is there something that you're noticing as a trend? Is there some way you can bait him into that? Or is that just really simply about the coverages that he's facing?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with him is you can kind of tell, you know, he trusts the guys blocking for him. He trusts the guys who are running routes for him as well. And he's trusting himself. So when you're saying he's holding the ball, me watching film, I just see him trying to go through all of his progressions. You know, you see sometimes where he's holding it, and he's going through his progressions, and he throws a fastball, and it's a strike on 3rd and 13. And then sometimes, you know, he may hold it, and it might be a sack. But I think that's the best answer that I can give for you. That you can tell that he's trusting the guys to block for him, so he can make the right throw.
I see one more hand raised, so we'll end it here with Zach.
Hey, Jalen, and getting back to Les's question, even taking away the football component of it, just as a person, when you see kind of what's going on in the country, and then you know that it's someone in your position room or someone in your locker room, how do you deal with that personally?
Me personally, you know, for one, you know, make sure I wear my mask, you know, everywhere I go. Or it's the gas station, you know, grocery store, or, you know, even around this facility, you know, I'm making sure that I'm putting my mask on. And then outside of that, I think the biggest thing with me, I'm big on my vitamins. You know, I make sure I take them each and every day, man, because, you know, you have a strong immune system, you know, maybe, you know, it's strong enough to fight off anything, COVID, whatever it may be. I mean, so those are the 2 biggest things. And then, of course, you know, hygiene, making sure I wash my hands and fist bumping a lot more now instead of, you know, getting handshakes and high fives. So that's the best thing I got for you.
Ed, I see your hand pop up too. We'll end here. Ed, you're muted.
Thank you.
Oh.
Hey, Jalen, I just wanted to ask you, you know, all these protocols that kind of limit time in the locker room and, you know, with these grab-and-go meals, I mean, does that take some of the fun away from the game, do you think, in any form? Because I know, the locker room can be a fun place and a good time to build camaraderie and chemistry.
Yeah, that's exactly what it does. We were joking around today with a couple guys on offense, Greg Ward, Fulgham, talking noise to him, and that's what we usually do. Then you go in the locker room, and it's all fun and games. It's that competitive stuff, and you go in the locker room now, you're joking around and you're having fun about practice. So it definitely kind of depletes that a little bit, the aftermath of it. But I think at this point in the season, we're so strong-minded and focused on the goal at hand right now. That it's okay. You know what I'm saying? It's all right that we are going into protocol and we don't get that locker room time.
We talked to Jim Schwartz earlier this week. He mentioned the Browns running game, and this is probably the two best backs, the two most talented backs you're going to face so far this season. Also, the run scheme. How important has he emphasized stopping the run this week?
Yeah, every week, the first thing you go over is stopping the run, and this week, like Coach said, it's the most important thing to do. Those two running backs are really good, so we got to come out and if we can make them one-dimensional, like you say every week, you have a better chance of winning the game.
Go ahead, Les.
Hi, Alex. I noticed on the sheet you played 71 defensive snaps and 24 special team snaps Sunday. You ever played 95 snaps in a game, and does that affect you in either of these areas as you go along in the game?
In Canada, I think I had a game of over 100 at one point, and that's I think just because that game, with the faster game clock or there's only a 20-second play clock up there, so I have had games. I don't think it does. I like to think I'm still 23 running around out there, even though I'm every day getting a little older. But no, I feel good. My body feels good. I'm ready to go this week.
Kristen and Ed Benkin.
Hey, Alex, when it comes to the Browns, obviously set the run up, use the run to set everything else up for the passing. What have you seen in terms of Baker Mayfield when it comes to using that play action pass ability for your offense?
Yeah, he's a good athlete. He knows, he knows his strengths. He knows, he's good out of the pocket. He's good on the run, and so we gotta be ready for them to take their shots downfield. They know their run game is what drives them, and they use that to their advantage with that boot game. And so we gotta be able to read it and get out and get under those those deep balls that he wants to get out.
Go ahead, Ed.
You're on mute, Ed. Maybe.
I think we're working on it.
I'm unmuted.
There we go.
I was unmuted. You can hear me?
Yep, we got you now.
All right, Alex. Sorry about that. Anyway, obviously there's another positive COVID test today with the team. We're hearing more reports about it, not just with the NFL, with the country. The protocols are in place. How difficult has the emotional challenge been? And is football, even with this going on, maybe a bit of an escape from it?
Yeah, I think football is the one time, we kind of get to escape from it. Even if, now that we're going into this new, like we were last week, this intensive protocol, I think when we get to actually come together and be on the practice field, it's the one time, with anything in life, football's the escape for a lot of us. And so it's nice to, be doing what we're doing at this point. I'm sure you guys notice even right now, just getting to be, part of this right now kind of feels a little more not normal, but, as normal as it can be in this time. And so, just, getting to be in the building when we get to and being around the guys, whether virtually or, in person, it's the one time, no matter what's going on around us, that we, it feels a little normal to us.
Thank you.
All right, I see one more hand raised, so we'll end it here with Zach.
Hey, Alex, as a follow-up question and somewhat off the wall here, people, not just in your line of work, all lines of work, are dealing with these virtual meetings. I guess for you, what are they like? And is it something you were used to before this? Have you noticed like other players' backdrops or things of that nature? And have there been any funny stories that have come out of them?
Nothing yet. I think our team has taken it, pretty seriously. I think it's the one time that I think it's going to be what separates teams here coming at the end, because now we all have to do these protocols. Last week was our first time. I know there were some teams that have been doing it for weeks. You got to choose to be professional. I'm sure, just like every other company, I'm sure there's some companies that maybe don't take it all serious and are kind of, falling behind, and there's some that are taking full advantage of it and moving forward and becoming a, better and stronger company. And that's just kind of what we have to do in this time is, choose, everybody as an individual, but then as an organization, whether it's going to be, serious, and you're going to take these next 7 weeks, whether virtual or in person, as, just like being in the building, or you're going to take them as just a time to, stay at home, cook breakfast while you're in a meeting and not really pay attention. And it's up to every individual, so, I know I'm going to put, my best hand forward. I even bought a desk actually last night so I could set up an actual kind of office space in my house. So it's more, I'm not just sitting on the couch. I want to have, an office, my computer up. And so I wanted to set it up as much as I could, to be as professional as I could in those situations.
Has anyone been caught making breakfast during a meeting yet?
No one yet. A lot of us, we get the Wawa burrito, so you just throw them in the microwave in the morning. You're good to go.
Kristen, I see you popped up at the last second, so let's get her in real quick.
It's just a real quick kind of play off of that. Alex, did you ever think you were going to be working from home in the NFL? Did you ever think that was going to be a possibility for you?
No. Yeah, this time it's just different. It's nice that we're able to, a lot of things, you talk to coaches, and even, 5 or 6 years ago, this wouldn't have been possible. If there was something going on, the season would have been canceled. So it's awesome that, we can do this with you guys, like none of this would be able to happen. So it's cool that everybody has been able to adapt, and no matter what the protocols are, at least in our organization, we've been able to adapt so well and do everything we can to, make it happen. And then, I think going forward, we're going to continue to do that same thing. But yeah, it's different. It's nice that we still get to work, because at the end of the day, I love football and just learning football. So it's nice that, we still get to be able to do that.
Thanks, Alex.
Hey, Alex, just real quick. Does anybody leave their mute button off like we do sometimes when we ask a question?
Not yet. And a lot of our in the off season, we were allowed to have them on mute with our screen off sometimes. But no, when it's in season, we got screens on and mics on all the time. So you can't. We keep it pretty involved. So you have everybody making calls and stuff like you were in a meeting room. So we keep it as professional as we can.
I know you have some background with the Browns running attack. Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. What stands out to you about them just from your past experience and obviously what they're doing on tape with the new offense?
I mean, with Chubb, he's just a downhill runner. I mean, he hit it pretty hard. So I know if he see any crease, he one of them type of bats that can hit it and take it to the crib or take it to the house. So we just got to really do a good job of just wrapping them up and driving our feet. And kind of Kareem the same way. They just got two great explosive backs. So we just got to really gang them and bringing them down.
Jeff and then John.
Javon, in the transition from the Steelers scheme to the Eagles scheme, what has been more difficult, scheme-wise and technique-wise? The playing the run defense or pass rushing?
I think it's more of the run. I mean, because the pass rush is just the pass rush. We're getting off the ball, but more in the run is just learning how to shoot my hands and just doing little technique things and being able to play it.
John and then Les.
Hey, Javon. The interior of the Browns offensive line seems to be really having a big year. What have you kind of seen from those guys, Treader, Bitonio, and especially Wyatt Teller, because he's maybe lesser known, but he's been really showing up this season.
They done, like you say, they done got a lot better. I think just by them being together for a little bit, they kind of know how to play with each other. So I don't win against all of them these past few years. So it's just, you can tell they done improved a lot this year than they have in the past.
Les and then Zach.
Hey, Javon. So to follow up on what Jeff was asking a minute ago about, you were mentioning that you're using your hands is different in this scheme against the run. Can you tell us a little more about that for those of us who aren't as astute about the scheme. What has changed so much for you in that? I assume you shot your hands in the other scheme as well.
Because one is a read, one is me. I mean, I shoot my hands, but it's more of, I guess, more. Last season with the Steelers, it was more read and shooting my hands, but now it's more attack. So it's just, just getting reps and learning how to do, play into this scheme. But I feel like every week I'm getting better at it. So I'm just, up for the challenge.
Okay.
Zach and then Ed.
Hey, Javon, did you expect more statistical production at this point in the season? Or do you think that there's production that maybe isn't seen on the stat sheet?
I mean, I think I done did a good job so far, but I know it's a lot more I can do. So, but of course, I expect a lot more for myself. So, I'm really focusing in these next 7 games to getting better and just keep improving on this.
Go ahead, Ed.
Javon, I just wanted to ask, with these protocols in place and more intensive protocols now, and you being a newcomer to the team, has it been a little more challenging to kind of build relationships and camaraderie with limited locker time as a newcomer?
I mean, it's definitely different. Just this whole 2020 year has just been really tough for everybody. But I mean, I done made the most of it, and just getting to know some of my teammates on the practice field and some in the meetings. But it is what it is. It's the new world we living in. So I'm gonna just keep pushing and trying to do what I can do.
So not getting that locker room time has impacted that and that maybe taking some.
I think it impacted more just like you say, just getting to know everybody. I'm not sure if I know everybody like I should know them. So it definitely impacted just being real close with a lot of my teammates.
Does that impact the play on the field? How you guys are able to play together on the field?
I ain't gonna say it. Well, it's just tough, but it's just something the whole league got to deal with. So we just really making the best out of the situation. Like you say, I be with the defensive line, so it's not really impacting that because we still always kind of around each other.